I don't know how many people are still paying attention to baseball's playoffs. I watched a little bit of last night's game. I saw Julio Rodriguez hit that home run. They have a 2-0 lead on the Blue Jays. And I'm imagining a lot of Mariners fans who always expect things to go horribly wrong were uncomfortable leading a game 2-0 when they already lead the series 2-0. Then the Blue Jays woke up. 12 runs over 4 innings. They had a 12-2 lead. They chased George Kirby from the game after just 4 innings. And we saw some really good hitters at the plate, specifically one Astros X. You up? George Springer. Looking good on the gram. He's healthy. He's playing deep in the playoffs again. 3 for 6 with a home run. I miss George Springer a little bit. I do. I imagine some people can take a look at the Astros who were nominated for the Gold Glove Award this year. Cam Smith at right field. Shout out to Dana Brown having the vision to put Cam Smith in right field, seeing him as a right fielder considering he'd never played the position at any level of professional baseball before this year. And Mauricio Dubon as a utility guy. Hey, at least the defensive side of things, the Astros were able to execute this year. You have 2 guys that are Gold Glove candidates that are also not really important hitters in your team, and you didn't hit this year after having a directive going into the season of being more patient at the plate. We'll see if Springer's able to keep it up, but it's hard to not keep tabs on ex-Houston Astros with the Astros out of the playoffs, and all of us supposedly relieved that we can watch baseball's playoffs without the Astros in it. I think everyone's full of shit pushing that. I see so many people doing it too. Yeah, I'm relieved. Because the only thing that comes when your team wins all the time is relief, which is actually true. I say this as someone who grew up a Patriots fan. You would become more relieved over big wins than you would be excited at times. But another Astros ex, Alex Bregman, is opting out of his contract with the Boston Red Sox. Not a surprise. Scott Boras, who is shilling for his client the best way he can, thinks that 10 to 15 teams are going to want to sign him to a long-term contract. I don't know about that, especially given that he was dealing with injuries at the end of the year. The Tigers, the Blue Jays, the Mariners, and Royals are all in the mix to potentially bring him in. We'll see if it happens. One of those teams decides to give him a big-time contract. I don't think anyone's going to give him a bigger contract, though, than, I guess, whatever the Astros offered him, which was, I think, a 6-year contract, right? Something like that. Because they don't go over that 6 number. It would be funny if the Astros brought him back into the most crowded infield you've ever seen, with Paredes and Correa, your third basemen. Jeremy Pena playing shortstop. No idea who's at second base. Probably not Jose Altuve, and Christian Walker at first. Crowded infield. They got some big decisions to make. Wouldn't it be funny if Jim Crane just goes back to what he normally does, which is pandering to the fan base, getting that big splash? They brought Correa back. They brought Justin Verlander back. I think we do know this about wherever Bregman's next destination is. The Red Sox, who traded Rafael Devers to shed salary, are very unlikely to keep him around. Very unlikely. That's the Red Sox way. It used to be, we're trying to keep up with the George Steinbrenner-led New York Yankees. We're going to throw money at whoever we can to compete. This is what John Henry's Red Sox ownership, after they took over for the Yankees back in the early 2000s, did from the get-go. Such an upgrade from the previous ownership. But now They're like a multinational corporation. They own Liverpool too. I'm sure they own some other bullshit. And they don't really seem to care that much about the product. They're more concerned with the profits. And even if they are underachieving, there's still a shit ton of Red Sox fans who are loyal diehards that are going to go to every single game up in Boston. They're addicted to that. And this isn't a team that really, I think, is committed to winning. I think we've seen this for a while. How funny would it be if they shed that Devers contract and then they don't even keep Alex Bregman, who was a big part of getting the Red Sox to the playoffs, even if they weren't able to advance out of the wild card round? Jason Wagner says, if Alex Bregman opted out of $40 million a year, he's a fucking idiot. Why not explore what you can get? Why not? $40 million is a lot, but he played great last season. Those numbers that he has are people across baseball going to look at Alex Bregman and say, well, he's great at Fenway and he's great at Minute Maid, which have similar dimensions in left field in that ballpark, but he's not going to be great in other places. Maybe, but still an elite fielder. That's why it was crazy that Rafael Devers was so offended by the idea of, as one of the shittiest third basemen in all of baseball, being moved off of third for Bregman. That was fucking crazy. Remember when that happened this offseason? We talked about it on this show. I'm very curious to see where Bregman ends up next. I doubt it will be with the Houston Astros, but it is interesting to see that he is opting out of that contract. By the way, what's going on with Justin Verlander? Justin Verlander opts out. Where the hell is he? Justin Verlander contract, Giants. All right, I think he's a free agent. He played for the Giants last year, 1 year, $15 million. Is it possible, given that the Astros have some questions in the rotation? We talked about this with Chandler Rome last week. Is it possible that the Astros look into the idea of bringing Justin Verlander back to fill out the rotation? Because after Hunter Brown and after Christian Javier, like, who are your starters? Can't be Ronel Blanco, probably. Can't be Hayden Wesneski, probably. Is it Lance McCullers? You can't rely on him. Who the hell's going to be that number 3 starter? I think there's a chance Verlander comes back. I wouldn't put money on it, but it would be really interesting to see if he ends up back. Sean Martinez says, no one wants Verlander. He needs to go home with his hot-ass wife. I mean, that's maybe what you would do, but I think Verlander, who has said that he wants to play as long as Tom Brady does, I don't think he's done. It would be hilarious if Verlander's back for a third stint with the Astros. HTX Rhino points out that they had Zach Greinke. Yeah, I don't think it's crazy, the idea of the Astros bringing Verlander back. It's not that far-fetched. I wonder what the percentage chance would be. I'm going to have to ask Chandler what he thinks the percentage of that is.